Good morning, everybody. Good morning. Nobody wants to sit in the front row, huh? There are about 5-6 seats up here if anybody's interested. My name is Jim Schwaller. I lead the IT team supporting engineering. This is Chris Meade, the Senior Director of Design and Operational Excellence. And we'd like to take you guys on our PLM journey and hope to share some lessons that we've learned along the way so you don't trip over the same roadblocks that we've experienced. Sir, what am I missing here? Is the right one? All right, there we go. So first, let's go to Switzerland. It's July 2015. It's a nice, warm evening. I have my earbuds in. I'm standing behind a hotel, and I'm looking at Lake Geneva, and I'm listening to Chris and my colleagues around the world talk about our PLM project and how it's not going very well. And they're asking questions like, did we just waste a couple $1 million? What did we do that was so wrong? Is this even salvageable? And I'll be honest, I was very selfishly thinking of only one question, which was, am I going to have a job when I fly back to LA on Friday?
So we'll talk a little bit about Honeywell Transportation Systems. So while we are part of a $40 billion multi-industrial conglomerate, Honeywell, and we're part of a $14 billion piece of Honeywell, Honeywell Aerospace, the Transportation Systems business is a $3 billion division, 95% turbochargers today, and last year it was 11 million turbochargers. Now that business is enabled by working together with our customers around the world to optimize their powertrains, truly understanding how they differentiate the powertrain, how it enables them to differentiate the vehicles to help their customers or their consumer image in the marketplace. Our fundamental business driver is about emissions regulations around the world, whether it's reduction of nitrogen oxides, whether it's reduction of particulate matter, both of which we, together with our OE partners, have reduced by more than 95% in the last 15 years. This challenge will continue. But also CO2 reduction, which continues to be a challenge for us across the world. Understanding how our customers are optimizing their engines, bringing a differentiated product versus our competition thermodynamically, and being able to deliver that flawlessly at a cost that meets our customer expectations is a continued challenge for us. That intimacy with our customers means that we are very global. Everywhere our customers are developing an engine, a powertrain, we have people there very close to them. So while Jim and I are both based in Los Angeles, 60% of our global business is based in Europe. Less than 15% is actually in North America. We have 5 engineering centers in China, in India, in North America, in France, in the Czech Republic, which have about 80% of our engineers to serve those regions. But we have 13 engineering centers around the world very close to our customers, whether it's Japan, Korea, Brazil, other places that our customers may be. Our global footprint is key to our success. Because our products are very customized. Every engine application is unique. So while we roll up to 11 million turbochargers, it's over 100 new product launches every year with our customers. And that customization means that more than 50% of our product cost in each one of those products that we launch is unique for that customer. We do have some reuse to drive economies of scale, but the majority of the product cost is unique for each one of those. And being able to, 95% of the parts that goes into those bills and materials are built to print. So only 5% are things like bolts and nuts. It's a very bespoke product that we do. Now, the technology is enabled through number one, simulation. So heavy reliance on powertrain simulation. How can we optimize the product that we're offering for our customers' critical characteristics that drive their vehicle? But also, how do we run computational fluid dynamics? So Leif talked a minute ago about over 100,000 euros a year in fuel for each of our on-highway truck customers. If we can improve the overall thermal efficiency of the turbocharger by 4%, we can help save 2% in fuel economy, or 2,000 euros a year for that truck owner. It's not a small thing for us. And it's true in passenger vehicles as well. The preservation of that thermodynamics comes through structural analysis, through kinematics analysis. So we are heavily engineered. And I talk about engineering, I talk about customization, but the other side of that equation, which is equally important to us, is the intimacy with our customers. Being able to reach across our global engineering team, take the lessons learned, the customizations, the optimizations, the standard parts that may be available, be able to combine those in new ways to help our customers win and to help differentiate us from our competition as well in delivering that technology. We do, so today that helps us to be on products like Peugeot cars, BMW cars, on-highway trucks such as Scania. Also mine trucks, Caterpillar 300-ton mine trucks, and even new technologies such as the Honda Clarity fuel cell vehicle, and something that I personally find very interesting, Ferrari Formula One is our turbocharger in the Curve system there as well. So very diverse product line. We do understand that our automotive business is transforming very rapidly. It's very dynamic. So one of the things that in our business we're also doing is looking across the technology depth that we have in the Honeywell portfolio, which is really where the genesis of the turbocharger came from. It's basically a jet engine, 1,050 degrees C gas temperatures, 1 million cycles in the life of the product, and the tip speeds, the rotational speed of the turbocharger, 300,000 RPM, and equivalent rotational tip speeds to a jet engine. So the materials technology, the bearing technology, for us that technology transfer has been very powerful, and we see this continuing. So if you look at an aircraft, they're all connected. The data streams from the commercial airplane down to the ground. Honeywell owns the avionics. Honeywell owns that data streaming down from that connected airplane. So we look at things like cybersecurity, making sure that you can't hack an airplane. That is a core competency of Honeywell. Also things like petroleum refineries. How is this cyber secure? That is a core competency of Honeywell. We look at things like airplane health monitoring. So if there starts to become an issue with a component on that airplane, today that airplane will be able to diagnose it across the CAN bus on the airplane, stream that data to the ground, and they can have the repair part ready at the gate when the plane pulls into that gate to turn that plane around very quickly and not have to take it out of service. So transferring this technology into the automotive space is something that we're driving in our offerings as well. But today it's 95% turbochargers, and that's kind of the core of our PLM system as it is today. We're going to talk a bit about our PLM journey, and I think some of this may resonate with many of you. Where were we? In 2013, we were dependent on a Matrix 1 PDM system, and the way that I related, it was like a 20-year-old car. Not pretty. Most days, I was a little bit uncertain if it was going to get me to the office that day. We weren't quite sure if you came in, would it be up and running? And sometimes, more often than we liked, it would break down. We were able to fix it, but it was highly customized, and we knew that we needed to make an investment in something more modern. So understanding what flavor of new vehicle was right for us was one of our challenges. We did some benchmarking, of course. We looked at, as many of you have, looked at all of the large players in the space. We looked at our benchmarking in terms of our current system usability, using a subjective usability score. which was on a ratio of 47 was the score. Best-in-class systems that you may use, like apps on your smartphone, are in the 85 to 90 range. So we were far from a usable vehicle. So we knew we needed to go somewhere. And what did we want? So in 2013, when we launched, we knew we did not want to end up in the trap of heavy customization, preventing us from upgrade. The acceleration in the software world, the usability, the functionality, we needed to be able to move platform to platform in our future to make sure that we could take advantage of the productivity that would come and the new functionality that would come as a key enabler for our business. User experience is absolutely critical for us in Honeywell, and we talk about the Honeywell user experience. And there's something that comes from corporate, which Jim will talk in terms of how do we look at that in terms of user experience. And we wanted an agile development process. At the time, quite frankly, agile was a buzzword. It means something about moving quickly, right? It means something about iteration, and we really didn't know what we were asking for at that time.
So what did we get? Does this look familiar to anybody? Yeah, a lot of you, I would think. The next slide, sadly, might look familiar as well. This is what we got. So we brought in a vendor who's not here today to help us deliver what we wanted. And what we got was hope at the beginning that things were going to go well. We were going to work agile. We were going to deliver everything. We were going to be out of the box. We were going to have a high user experience. And we started out doing pretty well. We were okay. And about a third of the way through the project, we started to notice things weren't going the way we had hoped. But we didn't have any way to quantify that. We weren't measuring our progress in the system with our users in a way that we could go to the leadership and say, this is derailing. So every week we would go to our status meetings, and either Chris or I would end the meeting by asking our vendor, are we going to go live on time? Are we going to be ready? And every week they would say, yes, no problem, we'll be ready. So about a month before our go live date, we got this. We got everything we asked for, but it was highly customized. It was basically upside down from what we wanted, and our usability score, instead of going up to 70 or 80, which was what we were shooting for, had gone from 47 to a 42. We were in a lot of trouble. So on a different trip to Switzerland, one of the senior executives, maybe the senior executive, looked across the table at me and said this: how did you, and you can fill in the blank, how did you F this up so badly? And there may have been 30 or 40 people in the room when he did it. It was pretty unpleasant. So let's go back to our valley overlooking Lake Geneva. So after I got off the phone with the bigger team, I called Chris, and we had a little talk, and we wanted to unpack, how did we get here? Why did this go so badly? So for us, what we figured out was we didn't have the right PLM expertise. We didn't really understand what we were getting into. That was true of the vendor as well. The vendor we had selected didn't have the expertise we needed, both in methodology as well as in the tools. We didn't have a way to clearly measure our success on a regular basis, so we didn't know where we were at any given time, from a business value standpoint, from a usability standpoint. And we needed to focus more on what our users really needed, and we needed a way to do that. So we asked ourselves, what should we do differently if we were given the opportunity? And at that point, it really was a question of if we were going to be given the opportunity. So the first thing we said is we have to work agile. And this to us at the time meant iterations. It meant short bursts of delivery. And it meant being able to know when we failed, and failure was okay, but being able to measure and react to that very, very quickly. We couldn't react until the very end, and that's why we ended up, or I ended up looking Lake Geneva wondering if I was going to have a job. We wanted to make sure we had clear goals that we could measure against, so clear time on task goals. And the most important part of this picture is the stopwatch. So it's very simple. We sat with our users and we timed what they were experiencing every day. And as we delivered throughout the project, we wanted to time and make sure we were getting better. And then the last part, the most important part to me, especially as an IT leader, is we needed to focus more on the people we were doing this for. We wanted to fight for our users. We wanted to make sure we were doing everything to make their lives better, and we wanted to measure that project, or that progress, as we went along. That was pinnacle to our success.
So as we started what we call Phase 2B, the second implementation, we were very introspective, as Jim just mentioned, in terms of resetting our goals. So as we started this new journey, we knew that we needed a new implementation vendor. It was perfectly clear from our failure. And what we were really looking for was someone who was experienced. We've never been down this path. We needed someone who would hold us by the hand, lead us down the path, point out all the potholes from the many implementations that they had done, and help us to not step in those same holes. We clarified what our objectives were in the user's eyes. So we picked 10 key tasks, 10 key activities that our team does, whether it's creating a part, creating a deco or a design work request, whether it's doing search for a document, doing search for a part, creating a certain type of work request. We had 10 things that we had benchmarked, and we looked at this through time studies, pulling out the stopwatch and set aggressive targets. Can we go from 10 minutes to 2 minutes? We think it's achievable through automations, through upgrades in the system, and we set those targets to say, if we can achieve these time on task objectives times the number of activities per year, it translates to true hours saved, dollars per hour times our engineers around the world, clear return on investment. And it was a relatively narrow focus and allowed us, as we went through the process, to make sure that we remained focused on those things that create the most value. The other key axis of measurement of success for us, as Jim mentioned, is not just can I click on it and move through it fast, but true user experience, the subjective usability score, which we would be measuring at the end of every 4-week development sprint to make sure that we were making the progress that we needed to make with our users. Keeping our team focused on these things was critical. From a program management of this project perspective, understanding our development velocity was very critical. Every month, when we closed the sprint, when we deployed it, when our users could start to test those requirements that we'd put in place using this agile methodology, are we delivering those user stories? Are we delivering the story points? Are we on track? And quite frankly, by the time we hit end of summer, we started really started actually in March 2016 with Technia Transcat. And by the time we hit the end of summer, we realized together with Technia Transcat that we were behind, that it was going to take 4 weeks longer to go live than our target. And one of the good things about that is we were able in the summer to understand, A, we were off track, B, how much we were off track, and when we could commit to our leadership and to the Technia Transcat leadership when we would be done. It was very, very useful that way. The third key piece for us in this was our governance model, which we forged together with the Technia Transcat team. Things are our accountability meetings, from daily meetings from the team. Are we making the progress? Is our team providing the answers that the development team needed in order to move? Is their team asking us the right questions? And daily having meetings, weekly steering committee meetings, and monthly governance meetings with the Honeywell Transportation Systems executives and the executives from Technia Transcat. And we were very aligned. We looked at escalation as not a failure. Escalation says, we've got a problem, we agree that we have a problem, we can't solve it at a lower level, and we're taking it up. And that example of having to delay our go live date was actually received very well as an escalation in our governance model. So this, for us, this is one of the key things that made the project effective. Go live, December 12th, 2016. So we effectively finished our development starting in March, 1st of October. User acceptance testing with our global team around the world was critical. We did 3 rounds of user acceptance testing because the user experience was so critical to us, with refinements in between. Lots of work the weekend before we went live, data migration. It's a big deal, right? It's a huge effort. So 2 a.m. nights with our team and the Technia Transcat team right there by our side the entire way. And Sunday, so Monday morning, Shanghai time, because our team arrives Monday morning in Shanghai at 8:30 a.m. We needed to have the system up and running and ready to go. We were all sitting in Torrance, where we're based, together with the Technia Transcat team. The system, we pushed the button effectively. The system was live, and we wait. It felt a bit like pushing the button on an intercontinental ballistic missile, and you did it launch. Did it go? We wait. But for us, it was a very interesting experience. Day 2, we were leaving the office. The Technia Transcat team was just ahead of me, going down the walkway outside of our office, and I saw Rada Zrilik in front of me, and I said, "Rada, it's 5:15 p.m. on the second day. Did you ever imagine that we would be leaving this early? Not here until midnight, till 2 a.m. fixing things, but it's actually working," which was quite amazing. Our critical time on task success metrics, you can see a couple of them here in terms of benchmarking in the old system, results in the new system, and truly demonstrating that return on investment, which actually overall, together with Technia Transcat, exceeded our targets by about 20%. So not too bad for us there. Usability was definitely, still is a challenge for us. And usability is something that's very interesting for us. Every time that we went back to do this usability score, our internal customer expectations would rise. And we're in a very modern world of smartphones, user experience. The whole world is changing. So what our users thought was benchmark 6 months ago, they're now expecting here and here and here. It will continue to challenge, and that's a key learning for both of us, and something that we'll carry forward as well.
So what do we want you guys to take away from this more than anything? We don't want you to be standing looking over a valley in Switzerland at any point questioning your job. So these are the things that Chris and I do differently. We work on a lot of projects, and PLM's certainly one of them, but every project we do now, we take these things with us, and we take them very, very seriously. And it's changed the entire mindset of our team. So the first thing is that everything we do is agile. And for us, agile, we use Scrum. Works very, very well. But what's most important is we found a methodology that both the business and IT could use. And we found a way to understand what was happening quickly with every sprint we delivered. And I really have to thank Technia Transcat for educating us and teaching us the right way to make that work. Teaching us, we used the Atlassian tools. They taught us the tools. They held our hands. They worked closely with us. They showed us the value through proof, right, and through business benefit. And we really had a lot of success. And we have in subsequent projects as well.
And I would say from the business perspective, our teams don't know anything about software development. We're all turbo engineers. It was very painful at first. What is this Jira thing? How does it work? But then 2-3 months in, it's clicking. It's clicking. And then 6 months in, 7 months in, our other software development teams for internally homegrown systems, not PLM, they're like, what is this? How do we get that? And my team's refusing to work on an IT software project with our IT partners unless we're using Agile, unless we're using a standard software tool, and pushing back on the IT teams internally that weren't yet mature, frustrated that they're not using it. Truly transformational for us as a business.
Absolutely. So the way we work changed, and the way we looked at our users changed as well. So when we talk about user experiencing, understanding your user, to us, that means sitting with the users. It means taking videos of the users. It means talking to them for sure, but your users might not tell you what they want, but they can certainly show you what they need. So if you sit with them, if you spend time with them, if you're patient with them, and that phone in your pocket taking a video of just a few minutes of what they're doing every day, you can discover so much in just that little bit of time. I really recommend going to see your users. It makes a big, big difference.
Paper prototypes, clickable wireframe prototypes, doing the VOC. Does this work the way that you want it to? Bringing 2 or 3 different options to really be able to gather how they see the usability of the toolkit. It's uncomfortable. It's a huge investment of time, but it's so worth it because you discover things that you never would through other methods.
Absolutely. And the last thing, of course, is measure your impact along the way. So at the end of every sprint, at the end of each piece of what you're doing, and hopefully they're small, consumable bites, measure the impact. And there will be times you do a sprint and you actually go backwards. We had a couple of those, right? And that's how we knew we were a little bit behind. But going to the leadership and saying we're a little bit behind at the beginning and here's why and here's how we're going to fix it is a hell of a lot better than sitting across from them at dinner and being questioned in front of 30 or 40 people. I can personally tell you that. So I hope you guys have enjoyed the session and you've picked up a couple of things that have resonated with you, and we wish you good luck in delighting your users.
Thanks.
Please stay. I'm sure everyone thought it was very interesting and maybe could see themselves in what you're describing. You know, do not believe that things happen automatically. It's hard work, dedicated work. That's kind of a summarize, I would guess. Yeah. What about now? I was thinking when it's up rolling, it's live, everyone use it. Do you still? Is it like growing of itself that people understand the benefits, so you don't have to do anything, or is it constantly working with the employees to actually use this?
It's been very interesting. So the first couple of months were tough. There's change management. The users have to learn. There's definitely a learning curve, but there were things that people liked very much. One thing we've seen since we've gone live in December is that you have to continue to be diligent and vigilant of what's happening. So we still have monthly sprint releases. So we measure the impact, we talk to the users, we do SUS scoring very regularly. That part has gone pretty well, but after a few months, we actually ran into some of the bigger challenges, which were some performance challenges, usability issues, and of course, like Chris said, the user's expectation was raised on December 12th, so the foundation that we're building off of changed very significantly. So their expectations get higher and higher.
Okay, so then you couldn't go home at 5 o'clock again, you had to stay.
I've had a few late nights since then.
Okay, you're staying during the coffee break, but if you have some questions now, please raise your hands and I can give you the microphone or post it on Twitter. Actually, we have a question on Twitter. Maybe it doesn't have to do so much about the PLM investment, but it's interesting anyway. The electrical revolution, what does it mean to Honeywell Turbo? Is it a threat or a possibility?
I'd say there's two, from a business perspective, there's two things. The first one, which we're very excited about, is the electrification of the vehicle. So many of our customers are moving towards 48 volt and higher systems. And for us, that gives us the opportunity to put high-speed motors and controllers into the vehicle. With a 12-volt architecture, you really can't draw enough amperage to do anything useful in terms of wattage or kilowatts that can give you boost on demand. So we are very aggressively developing electric turbochargers, electric, let's say, compressors, in order to serve this marketplace, which is very exciting for us. More and more of this mild hybrid electric vehicle brings the opportunity. Even hybrid vehicles with internal combustion engines, we are We're providing turbos on hybrid engines today. So for the next 8 to 10 years, we see the turbo opportunity in the marketplace continuing to grow as long as we can deliver the advanced technology flawlessly at the right cost and the right quality for our customer, which is our core competency. Beyond this, when you look at electrification, true battery electric vehicles in the marketplace, it's very interesting as well. So when we talk about autonomous vehicle cybersecurity becomes critical. And we look at cybersecurity as something that our customers must have. You don't want your vehicle to be able to kidnap you or have a WannaCry where it locks all the doors and it traps you inside and you have to pay 300 euros to get out of your own car. That's not acceptable for any one of us as a consumer. But we're also not willing to pay. We expect that to be part of the vehicle. So our customers are challenged that there's no value for them in this. Where we see the opportunity is when you are on the data bus, when you're seeing the streaming data coming off the vehicle to be able to detect anomalies from a cybersecurity perspective, you also have the opportunity to take the Honeywell Aerospace vehicle health monitoring capability. How can you understand when a part is wearing out, when it's starting to fail, when it's triggering digital anomalies that indicate that something is going bad? How can we bundle that together to offer more of a service to our customers that's truly valuable, and it's independent of the powertrain? There's other things we're looking at as well across the Honeywell portfolio. So we're very excited about the disruption as we see really delivering technology is what we do. We are not a commodity supplier. We're not.
Thank you very much, both of you, for a very interesting story about a success story, I must say, about a PLM implementation. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. I'll give it to you. Thank you.